presentation, getting secure and compliant with your virtual infrastructure. My name is Cesar Fernandez. I am Director of Product Solutions here at PMG. You can reach me at cfernandez@PMG.net should you have any questions after today's presentation. So a little housekeeping before we get started. You can ask questions via the chat window. I will take questions at the end of the event. The webinar is scheduled for approximately 30 minutes. Again, you can email me with any questions after the presentation at cfernandez@pmg.net. And a copy of the slide deck and recording of the webinar will be provided after the event for your viewing pleasure. So let's get started. In 2013, PMG took a survey, their cloud sprawl survey, and what that survey revealed was that 69% of IT pros said that the hybrid cloud was the way of the future within their organizations. A couple of things that cloud applications would be deployed faster and, of course, deliver better value. But there were also a couple of concerns that we noted. One of those concerns was compliance, and the other one was security. PMG took that to heart from their survey, and they took it in-house. And what we realized was that a service catalog should ensure your cloud automation and management, ensure that you had those security and compliance concerns were addressed. As our slide here shows, an enterprise service catalog can be that one-stop single pane of glass for your customers within the enterprise. They can come in and go to just about any area and order just about any product. They can go to finance, get chargeback and reporting. They could go to facilities and request badges or desks or offices. They could go to HR, get onboarding done, request benefits packages to be submitted. And of course, as with any service catalog, they could go straight through IT, get service desk tickets cut, identity management, and of course, get cloud infrastructure provisioning and management done. So how does the service catalog help provide that single pane of glass? Well, for your customers, it's the one place that they could come in and make any type of request. Again, with the integrated bundles like your employee onboarding, you can come in and request an employee be onboarded, and you can provide that end-to-end service where the employee request to onboard is made, computers can be set up, telephones can be installed, networks can be set up, user IDs can be created so that your employee is ready to go on day one. Customers can also view the fulfillment of their requests in real time with an automated service catalog. They can also view any current subscriptions, any virtual machines they may have ordered, any virtual servers and services. And how does that single pane of glass help IT? Well, it helps IT by helping them to define and control those services that are created. It can also help them define that service delivery process through workflows. It'll also decouple the fulfillment process from the request itself. So, the request is handled and viewed by the customers, the statuses are provided, and it leaves IT free to go ahead and fulfill on that service request. And it also helps IT understand what their customers are ordering, who those customers are, what the volume is, and the types of requests that are being made. So how does that single pane of glass help here with virtual machine provisioning? Well, PMG has created the Cloud Accelerator to go ahead and help with that. Our Cloud Accelerator allows, on the IT side, the data center administrators to go ahead and create these virtual infrastructure offerings, manage their machine builds. And the key thing here is that they won't need any assistance from the service catalog managers. So the service catalog managers or administrators themselves can focus on maintaining services within the service catalog, and the data center administrators can focus on what they know. They can focus on creating those virtual machine builds to provide those offerings to their users. They can worry about, or they can actually go ahead and manage the machine builds themselves, as well as those provisioned machines, perform, upgrades to those machines, perform, power operations where necessary. It also helped, the Cloud Accelerator would also help the end users by self-provisioning virtual machines themselves. The users can come in and order workstations. They can order servers. They can then manage those machines by adding additional software and or upgrading those components. They need a little more CPU. As long as they're authorized to go ahead and add that CPU to that virtual machine, they can. They want to upgrade the memory a little bit, they can go ahead and do it so long as they're authorized. They need to perform power operations. They can start, stop, or suspend their machines. This also removes that responsibility from the data center administrators, again, so the data center administrators can go ahead and focus on what they should be focusing on, ensuring that that infrastructure is up and running, and they don't have to worry about these requests from their end users. And for both, we put it there for the end users. There are dashboard metrics. Data center administrators also have those metrics, and we'll get into that a little bit as we go into our demo. Why don't we go ahead and take a look at the PMG Cloud Accelerator. In the first view, we're going to have a look at is the Data Center Cloud Administration Center. As we load up the Cloud Administrator console, the first page that Data Center Administrator is taken to will be the Cloud Dashboard Overview. On this screen, Data Center Administrators can see their machines. They can see what's been provisioned, the total number of machines provisioned, those machines that are online, those machines that are offline, the ones that have been provisioned this month. All of the charts on the screen are drillable, so that you can go ahead and drill down and see how many Linux Red Hat version 5 servers I have that are deployed. It'll tell me those that are online, those that are suspended, those that are offline. I can go ahead and drill down into one of these machines and see even more detail on the machine. I can see what the machine build is, how many CPUs, what the memory is on that machine, how much storage space, and I can go ahead and drill down even further to go ahead and see the pricing on these machines and see how I'm pricing them out. In this case, we have a machine that has a virtual CPU where there's a base price set on each megahertz, and then there's also metering that's being done on the CPU itself. The console also allows the administrators to go ahead and perform a level of maintenance, as well as take a look at the original request that was submitted for this machine. So, for example, on this one, if I were to go ahead and click on our request ID, it would then take me to the original request that was submitted for this particular virtual app server, provide me all the details on that request, as well as the status and the process by which that machine was delivered. I also have process details, so if I wanted to actually take a look at the workflow and how that machine was delivered and the process by which it was delivered, I can go ahead and click on that and bring it up. Going back to our dashboard, administrators can also perform management of the machine. They can perform power ops. So if I click on my power ops link, I'll have a pop-up come up, and it'll go ahead and bring up that machine, and I would be able to go ahead and perform some form of power operation on the machine. Same thing on the management side. Pop-up screen would appear to go ahead and bring that back, as well as some user management. And I'll go into some of these screens and tabs a little bit more during our demo. In staying with the main console and the reporting, there's also a reporting tab where I can go in and take a look at an overview of the machines that have been provisioned. I can view all. I can view them by status, by environment. Those that have been provisioned this month. If I'm on the status tab right now, I can filter down even further by only those machines that are online, or only those machines that are offline. Those machines that are not active, or those that are standby. We can also go ahead and search by machines. So if I wanted to go ahead and bring back or look for a particular machine that may be having some issue that a user may have reported, I can go ahead and do that as well. So that's great. So now I've seen how, all the machines that have been provisioned. Well, how does an administrator manage the builds of those machines? How does he go ahead and provide those offerings to his customer base? Well, they do that by going here to the machine build tab. They click on the machine build. It would bring them to this create and manage builds tab. And in there, a data center administrator can go ahead and start building out the templates. And we'll go ahead and walk through a simple build really quick. They go ahead and select the machine type. In this case, I want to go ahead and build out a server as opposed to a workstation. I'd go ahead and select my operating system, and those operating systems, again, all of these lists are customizable. I can go ahead and select the Windows Enterprise 2012 OS for this particular machine, and I'd enter a template name. So let's go ahead and enter Windows storage server. I'm just going to make a storage server for this one. For the sake of brevity, I'll just go ahead and copy that description into the template name into the description. And the administrator at this point can either make it active or not active. If it makes it active, it'll be available to the user, to the customer right away. Otherwise, he can always come back in later to modify and make the template active. We'll just go ahead and make it active for now. We'll go ahead and select the target system. In this case, we're only showing VMware because our target system is based off of the operating system, and currently for Windows 2012, we have VMware available. We're not going to provide an external ID because one isn't necessary. At this point, I have the ability to go ahead and add options. Do I want to make this a database server? If I say yes, I'll be presented with a list of databases to select from. In our case, I'm going to say no because it's just going to be a storage server. Do I want to add any additional options or software? If I say yes, right now I have 2 options. Again, these lists are customizable, and I'll show how that is done during the demo as well. For now, we're not going to add any options. I don't need IIS or Microsoft.net on here. If an administrator gets stuck at any point, we do have pop-ups to go ahead and help them with with the options they're selecting. Once we have our template details in place, we'll just go into our build and we'll start building this template out. We give the ability to go ahead to the administrators to go ahead and provide different tiers or levels of service. Many organizations like to provide small, medium, and large levels of tiers. In our case, we're using custom standard bronze, silver, and gold. And again, this is customizable. It does not have to stay, with the nomenclature that we're using. If I want to go ahead and provide, I'm just going to go ahead and build out a couple of tiers so you can see how quickly administrators can create a template. I'll select custom, and I'll add a CPU. I'll go ahead and select the type of CPU that I want to add. In this case, I'm going to do a virtual CPU. Again, the components themselves, customizable. You can add and remove components here at will, and we'll get into that in just a second. So I'll go at a minimum quantity of 1, a maximum quantity of 2, and because it is custom, we'll go ahead and add approval. We'll just add that to our list. Let's go and define a little bit of memory. We'll go ahead and select virtual RAM, and we'll say it's going to be 4. We'll give it a maximum of 16, and we'll require an approval from our administrator at 8. And let's go and define some storage, and we'll select SAN 2, and we'll say it'll be a minimum of I don't know, 500. We'll go to a max of 4,000, and we'll get approval at about 2,500. Add that to the list. And I've now defined a custom level tier for the Windows storage server. And I could go ahead and continue doing this. I can go ahead and define standard, come in here, define my CPU, and just go through the same process. Select 1 on there, go to my memory, select my virtual memory, and set that at 4 since it's just standard, and then just go into my storage, select my tier 2 storage, and we'll set this one at 500 since that's the lowest number for the custom, and there we go. And you can go ahead and continue defining these for all the levels. Once you've defined all the different tiers or levels that you want for your template, you just go over to the pricing, and select the pricing type. Now, you can go ahead and set pricing for each one of the components. You can set the pricing for the software and handle all of those separately. But you can also go ahead and set additional pricing on the template itself. So you have pricing not only on the component level, but on the template level as well. And in our case, we're going to go ahead and set a base price on this particular server of $200. We're going to set the recurrence to monthly. We're not going to select the price usage type because here it doesn't apply since it's just a monthly base price. We'll add that pricing to the list. And if I wanted to go ahead and add a cancellation fee in here as well, I could go ahead and add that cancellation fee of $100, call it a one-time fee if you went ahead and cancel it, and I'd add my pricing to the list, and off we go. Once the pricing has been set on the template itself, we can go into the approval so that we can go ahead and start setting our approvals. And the nice thing here is that you can set approvals based on tier. So as you saw here in our build, we went ahead and defined custom and standard levels, and so I will go ahead and define only approvals for my custom and my standard. So for custom, I will want approval from both my line manager and my administrator, but on my standard, I may not ask for approvals from either. And if there are any other levels of approvals that are needed, again, this is customizable, and you can just go ahead and add them, and they would appear here on the form for you. So we talked a little bit about building components. You know, we have our CPU, memory, and storage. On the template side, you know, we had a database, which is really just a component, as well as some additional options here, which we have IIS and Microsoft.net. So how do you add these components? How do you customize these forms? Well, most catalogs, you'd have to go to the form and change the form. In our case, and you'd have to go to the service catalog administrator. In our case, the data center administrator does, because he knows it's his product. It's what he is doing. So he can come here and just go ahead and add a component. He can go ahead and select the type, and say he wants to add a new type of CPU, and, you know, we're going to call this the Intel, you know, Super CPU. He'd go ahead and add that, put it in his, I'm just going to put it in the same description. He can decide whether or not he wants to display that particular component to the customer. It's just something that he's going to run in the background because it doesn't make any sense to show the customer that component. So in our case, we're going to go ahead and display, and then we're going to say, well, can the customer update this component or not? Are we going to provide a custom, you know, the user to be able to customize this component? In our case, we'll say yes because it's CPU, and he may want to increase the number of CPUs. We'll go ahead and we'll add that to our list. And I can go ahead and continue adding all the components that are needed here until I'm satisfied. And then I can go on and define the pricing for each one of these components. So in our case, that Intel Super CPU is the one I just entered. We can go ahead and set a price for it. You can define either price or cost, you know, price being shown to the customer, what you're charging him, or the cost being the cost to IT, so that you can track both of them. We'll go ahead and we'll set the price here. We will set this as the base price, and, you know, because it is a super CPUs, we're just going to go ahead and charge $10 for this one. Price usage type is going to be megahertz. Well, no, on this one we're not going to do that. We're just going to go ahead and charge the base price. On this one, and say I wanted to come back in and double dip a little bit and, you know, charge on metering for the CPU. I'd come in, select metering, go ahead and select, say, $1, and I'm going to charge you $1 per megahertz. And I'll go ahead and I'll add it. So you have a lot of flexibility in how you go ahead and price out your components. Once these components are added, you can come back here to your template, and depending upon the type of component that you added, that component will be made available to you either as part of the build of the machine with your CPU, memory, and storage, or as an additional option or database. Once templates have been created in the traditional catalog, we like to bundle services, like, you know, as with employee onboarding, we go ahead and bundle a bunch of services into it to get that employee onboarded. Well, we can do the same here. In our case, we can go ahead and create a package called Linux database application package. And once I've gone ahead and created, then again, I'm just going to copy and paste into the description for the sake of time. Once I've gone ahead and created the package name, I can come in and start associating templates. And these are all templates that the administrators have gone ahead and created. And the packages themselves can also be defined by level or tier. So I can define a custom, standard, a bronze, silver, gold, a small, a medium, or a large, template. In our case, I'm just going to go ahead and, because it is Linux, I'll just go ahead and select our Linux package there, and then our SQL Server package. And you can see that my components and all come up every time I select a different template. I'll know how that machine was built based on the level. I'd go ahead and select that, and I would go ahead and continue creating my packages here, submit them, and then they would be available to our users. So that's how our administrators can go ahead and create their templates and their packages and manage their components. How do they go ahead and manage the machines? Well, you saw a couple of pop-ups before. They also have the ability to do machine management from the console itself. There is a Power Operations tab where they can come in and perform power ops on a machine. There's also a machine configuration tab where they can come in and select particular machines, and the configurations for those machines will appear, and they're able to go ahead and adjust and modify and do what they need to with those machines. There's also a level of user management and ownership on the machines, so that the administrators can go ahead and change owners on particular machines should they need to, and also perform some machine user management, so that we can go ahead and deactivate those administrators as they offboard, add new administrators, new users to the machine, and give levels of permission to those folks that can go ahead and do some machine management. I'd like to go ahead and show a little bit of the user side of it now. So now all our administrators have, we've created these templates. So, they're creating these things so that they can show them out to their customers. Well, on the customer side, we also have a little bit of a console here so that I can see my provisioned servers. These are all machines that I've provisioned, in the past year or so. It'll show me a quick report, and just like with the, with the users, with the administrator console, I can go ahead and drill down, take a look at how the machine was built, what storage I have. I can go ahead and also click into, my request ID to go ahead and see how the request was ordered and what the tracking was on it, as well as perform some power operations on it. And this is just the reporting, so that I can go ahead and see what my charges are, what the cost of my machines are, and whatnot. So how do I go ahead and order? Well, I can go ahead, oops, sorry about that. I can go ahead and order by clicking on Virtual Application Server here, and that will just go ahead and take me to my Virtual Application Server form. And these are all templates that have been created by, by the administrators. I can come in and, request to see either a custom or request either a custom server or not. In this case, I'm going to select not to request a custom server. I can come in and select my OS version. All the OSs that have been, where templates are available, would appear here for the users. I can come in and select the OS type, or the template type. When I select the template type, its description, its base price, and whether administrator approvals are required or not will appear here. I can select the tier or level. In this case, we're just going to leave it at standard. And you can see that all the pricing will appear here. So I know what a standard server would cost, what a bronze server, silver, and gold servers would cost. These are dynamic. As the administrators change them, they will also change here. So that it's updated immediately, so a user knows exactly what he's paying for as the administrator changes it on his end. So in this case, let's call this one. We're going to call this one Melinda's storage server. Go ahead and submit that here. We're going to select a production environment for her, and we're going to say that she wants it for 12 months. We can go into the bill details so she can see exactly what she's paying for, what the costing is going to be, and then we can go ahead and define some owners. So in this case, she's going to want to make me an administrator. We'll go ahead and select me as the administrator, and I can go ahead and continue adding users here by selecting another person and then doing a search. We integrate into AD, so anyone who is in your AD will, you can search on and make them an administrator or a power user or a regular user. As with any subscription, there is, of course, a contract. We'll go ahead and agree to that contract, and then just go ahead and submit it to our card, and we'll go ahead and provision out the machine. And we'll go ahead and take a look at our order so that we can go ahead and track. As with any service catalog, you should be able to track your order to fulfillment once it has been ordered. We can see that the request was received. It is currently running. We'll just do a quick refresh to see where we are. And the machine has been provisioned. The users have been added, and it is now, and the machine is now powered on. So if I go back here to my console, and I just do a little quick refresh here, I should see Melinda's storage, and there it is. Melinda's storage server has been provisioned with virtual storage, and well, it looks like I selected the web server, template type. So it also provided me with all the web service software that I needed. And if I go back and click on that, you'll see it'll take me back to that particular service that we just went ahead, or that particular request in the master request that we went ahead and ordered. That is our cloud solution, our PMG Cloud Accelerator. As you can see, we tried to separate it out so that administrators can focus on what they need to focus on. The service catalog administrators and managers can focus on what they need to focus on, and the users have a little bit more control over the services that they are ordering and requesting, a little bit more control over the management of their machines, removing some of that responsibility from the cloud administrators themselves. Looks like we're coming up on our time. We have about a minute or so. Take a question or two. And let's see. What cloud services do you integrate with? Well, we integrate with a host of, a very good question, we integrate with a host of cloud services. Let me bring up our workflow really quick so that you can see just a few of the actions that we do integrate with. This is just a subset of our library, but as you can see, we integrate with Amazon. We do have OpenStack in here. We integrate with, obviously, VMware. We have a very extensive VMware library. We integrate with VCAC and HPCSA, as well as quite a few others. We also integrate with many of the ITSM tools out there, including ServiceNow and BMC Remedy, and so on and so forth. So we integrate with a lot. I'll take another question. How long does it take to install the product and get it up and running? The PMG Cloud Accelerator can be up and running within a matter of minutes. It is just the installation of a few XML files onto the PMG Service Catalog itself, and then it's just a matter of you administrators creating those templates to provide the services to the customers. I'll take another one. Is it customizable? Yes, it is fully customizable. As you saw, you can customize the virtual machines themselves, through the console, but you can also customize the forms. So if you need to add questions, remove questions, or if your workflow process is a little bit different, we can certainly be configured to meet your particular workflow and service processing needs. So I'll take one more. Can I use the Cloud Accelerator with my custom provisioning solution? Yes, you can. Again, we as long as there's an API, we can go ahead and integrate with it. We can go ahead and build out actions, very similar to the library that's here. or work with your teams to go ahead and build those out. I think we're running up on our time. We might even be a little bit over. Well, thank you all for coming to the PMG Cloud Accelerator webinar. Again, if you have any questions, please feel free to follow up with me. You can reach me at cfernandez@pmg.net or visit us at www.pmg.net, and we'd be happy to answer any questions or give you additional private demos.